This is the Try Swim Coach podcast, where the most difficult leg of the triathlon becomes your friend, leaving your struggles and your competition behind you. TrySwimCoach.com, helping you to laugh at the water.
All right. Welcome to Try Swim Coach. This is Kevin, and this is episode 95. And I've got Coach Chris Hague on the other line. Hey, Chris, how's it going?
It's going great, Kevin.
Awesome. And my video camera just went back on, which is the problem that I was having before, but hopefully we'll get this recording done.
We can just roll with it.
Yeah, we'll roll with it. Cool. So how's things been going? You've been bouncing around a little bit?
Yep, I'm on summer vacation, so I'm enjoying my well-earned break during the summer before school resumes next month, and just enjoying, the higher swim volume, training more, getting into the pool more, and then also testing out the Vasa swim erg. So I'm not sure if you've been following the posts, but been doing kind of an experiment with the Vasa swim erg, and I've always heard about triathletes using the swim erg to get in and supplement their training, but kind of wasn't completely sold on it. So I'm trying it out and doing a little experiment to see what my times are like and how it's affecting me in the pool and whether it actually works. A lot of people say, to become a faster swimmer, you need more time in the water. But, the swim erg, it's interesting. It's like a rowing bench for swimmers. Yep. Kind of works the same mechanisms. You get the fan, and then you swim by pulling these paddles, which, given the resistance that you set, activates the fan, and you pretty much swim continuously. So the first thing that I noticed with it is that you don't realize how much you recover with the flip turns, how much break you get when you do a flip turn until it's completely taken out. Yeah. So it's like swimming into a current with no breaks. So you get a intense workout within 30 minutes.
Okay.
After 30 to 45 minutes, you're spent. And so it's a completely different experience, but it's ironic because it's increased my feel for the water, which is weird because you're not actually in water, but given the resistance and the ability to perfect your form and be able to feel what your muscles feel like when you have perfect form and when you have that high elbow catch and when your timing's perfect, that can all be developed on the swim erg. So once you hop into the water, you know exactly what it feels like when your form is perfect, which is what you spend thousands and thousands and thousands of meters trying to get.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Within 30 minutes on the swimmer, that's what you get. You get that feel for the water.
That's really cool. Now, I have not tried it yet, but we are working with Vasa, the company Vasa, and I had a long talk with the president, Rob, there a few weeks ago. And so Chris, we were able to get Chris an erg so that he could practice on it and just see how it goes. I mean, because I don't stand behind products if I don't know anything about them. And the fact that I'm not able to use it, it's great that we have Chris on our team because he's actively out there doing triathlons, and he wrote 2 blog posts. So if, when he mentioned on our blog, it's just tryswimcoach.com/blog, and you can find the posts about the Vasa trainers, and it details exactly what happened. So if you're curious about the erg, and by the way, Chris, why do they call it an erg?
Because it has the same mechanism as a standard ergometer. So because of the fan mechanism and the fan and cord mechanism that you would have on a regular ergometer, whether it be a rowing ergometer or a bike ergometer, it has the same wind powered mechanism.
Yeah, cool. It's awesome stuff. I mean, it's like this new technology that when I was competing in swimming and triathlon, I didn't have access to this, but I really wish I did. And especially for anyone that is maybe a little short on time to get to the pool and wants to get a good home workout, it's awesome. There's so many advantages to it. I love it. I am super stoked on it. And if you are interested, you want to pick one up, you can go to the Vasa website. Is it Vasa.com? I think it's Vasa.com.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we have a discount code for $50 if you want to use it. It's TrySwimCoach, all caps, just all together, TrySwimCoach. But talk to Chris too if you're really interested and you want to.
It's VasaTrainer.com. So VasaTrainer. VasaTrainer.com.
That's right. And they're a great company to work with, and they'll help you out with anything. And like I say, Chris can answer any questions. But Yeah, so we just want to give you the information on that, and if you are interested, you can check it out yourself. But we kind of have a two-part show. So we didn't want to spend all our time talking about Vasa. We came up with a topic this week, and the topic is cadence and turnover in freestyle, and that is a really really common topic you hear around pools and triathlons, and people like to get all geeked out on the cadence. So, Chris, what's your take on cadence? Should people be trying to hit certain numbers? Should they try to increase cadence, decrease cadence? What's the deal?
So I think the reason why we're seeing more and more posts about cadence and the ideal cadence for a swimmer is because more and more people are trying to take what they know from running and what they know from biking, because cadence is big in both, as far as efficiency goes and increasing speed, but reducing effort, increasing, muscular strength. They're trying to take that from cycling and biking and apply it to swimming, which on paper sounds like it fits. But in my experience, it doesn't. I think it's just overemphasized. I think cadence does play a role. I won't say it's completely useless. I think some people do have too slow of a cadence. So what they're doing is they're stroking and then they're pausing in the reach position with their belly button pointing to the wall and then taking another stroke. So it's almost like they're doing the catch-up drill. Right. Or they're doing, a side kick drill. And I think their cadence is too slow. But for the most part, I think people's ideal cadence shouldn't be emphasized. Rather, what should be emphasized, and your cadence will be affected because of it, is the underwater pull. What you're doing underwater rather than your recovery speed over the water is more what matters. Because, obviously when you're warming up, your cadence is going to be slower. But as you speed up, you're going to be putting more force with your pull, and that's going to automatically speed up your cadence. Whether you should emphasize that, though, if you try to emphasize it and just focus on cadence, what happens is if you focus more on, having a 90 or 100 strokes per minute, what happens is you are shorting your stroke so that you're not rotating properly enough and extending enough, or you're dropping your elbow so you can get through the water more quickly, or you're exiting the water too quickly so that you can get over. And all of that you're going to be losing power on. So people will say, like my stroke rate was 100, strokes per minute, but I'm the same time that I was before and I'm, more out of breath. And the reason for that is because you're wasting your energy most likely thrashing about in the water instead of propelling yourself forward.
Yeah, and I think if you didn't grow up swimming on like a swim team, it's really inefficient to focus on your turnover, your cadence, because you're probably not getting the most out of your pull that you could. So if you start saying, okay, I got to pick up my cadence, I got to go have a higher turnover, then yeah, you could be doing all kinds of things that are slowing you down in your pull, and I could just see it. I mean, I've seen this before where people are slamming their hands and their arms into the water and just pushing down. They're not getting actual propulsion out of their pull. They're just wasting a ton of energy. But there are times when it is important to increase your turnover and decrease it, especially in the open water when you've got some chop. It's great to be able to have that, kind of skill to be able to go, okay, now I got to pick it up, and then now I got to kind of back off a little bit. So I think that I understand why people are talking about that and they think it's really important, but really there's so many other things to focus on first. So I think that's the key message that we're trying to get across is that, look, the pull itself is so important. And we talk about the high elbow catch all day long. And it's great to see like some of the videos that I've got recently that people that I've been working with for a while, like they'll send me a video and then 6 months later, they'll send me another video. They are actually looking amazing, like they're just focusing just on the high elbow catch, and their stroke looks so much better. And whether it's underwater or over the water, I can see a huge difference in what they're doing. And so that's the bottom line. And I just want to bring up one more thing on that. Is we were talking before the show when we were prepping for this topic. There's all sorts of different ways to swim freestyle that work for people. Like Janet Evans was the world record holder in the 800 meter free forever, like 20 years or something. And she had this crazy turnover and straight arms. And if you try to imitate her, it's going to be really tough if you're like a beginner or intermediate swimmer. that's going to be really, really, really tough to have an efficient stroke. But if you look at her underwater pull, it's solid. I mean, it's as good as it gets. So you can have all sorts of different turnovers and be an Olympic swimmer, but she also worked on that and perfected it for a couple decades before, or maybe 15 years or something before she started winning her gold medals and setting world records. So the point is that most people listening to this show are probably not like gold medal Olympic athletes or Olympic athletes or anything like that. So it's, you're trying to get the most bang for your buck, and it's probably not going to be in the cadence.
And also focusing on a specific number. I know the 90 strokes per minute, between 80 and 90 strokes per minute is thrown out. And if you Google, ideal strokes per minute ideal strokes per minute for swimming, you're bound to get that magical number, 90 RPM. And it's that you shouldn't be trying to hit a number because everyone's physiology is different. My arms are rather, compared to a person, my arms are stumpy. So I'm going to have a higher cadence to keep up with them just because my arms are smaller. But if you look at someone like, Brett Blankner, who has a huge wingspan, they're going to have a lower cadence. So it's not necessarily trying to hit a number. It's finding the number that works best for you. Whether that's your open water, it's going to be different for open water versus pool. It's going to be different from rough chop versus lake. So it varies from person to person, and it's the way what number works for you is if you're efficient, you're generating that high elbow catch and that high pull, and you're propelling yourself forward. Your timing and breathing is right, because if you try to increase your cadence, your breathing is going to be off, and you're going to be, gasping for breath, and you're not going to be exhaling fully underneath the water and exhaling when you take a breath, which is what you don't want. And then another thing to look out for the ideal cadence is, given your effort level. If you, do a 50 meters, if you do try to figure out your golf score, or SWALF score, and you're taking less strokes, but your time is faster for the 50, well, then go for it. I mean, you're faster, and that obviously you're more efficient at that level. So those are some of the considerations that you have to consider when trying to find that ideal stroke.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great point. And yeah, SWALF, by the way, is swim, golf, and we do this a lot with our workouts, and, the workouts that we give on TriSwim Coach, and it's basically you just count your strokes, and then you get your time on a set of 50s, and you just add those two numbers together on each 50 and try to lower it each time. So it's good. It's a good way to work on your efficiency. And one more thing I was going to say is that I read this book a few months ago called The Inner Game of Tennis. And it was about tennis, but it wasn't really, it was more about the mental side of doing a sport like tennis that's very technical. And it was about how people have a lot more in their minds. They have a lot more, they know what to do more than they think. Mm-hmm. So, and the same thing can apply to swimming. So one thing that helps a lot is if you find videos out there, whether you go to YouTube or you go to our site or whatever, and you find videos of people swimming that have really efficient strokes, and you can just kind of watch them, what they do underwater. That sort of helps you with the mental side of this. And so you're not obsessing over these numbers and exactly where does my elbow need to be? Is it 2 degrees off? Is it, those things are, they'll kind of start to come to you if you just watch some videos and, also practice the drills, of course, but getting that mental image is so important and what it should look like. What should it, because in your mind, when you get in the pool, your mind starts to go there and starts to go, that's what you've been seeing, that's what you've been watching. And there was one guy that I coached a while back, and he's like, I bought your DVD, and I watched it over and over and over. Every night I went to bed and I watched the DVD before I went to sleep. And so he said that really helped him, because then he got, by the time he got to his race, he kind of knew what to do without having to overthink it and overthink every step of the way. So yeah,
getting that visual idea in your mind of what your cadence should be definitely helps. Getting the visual cue down, presets the neurons for firing when you're actually in the water.
There you go. See, we get scientific here on the TriSwim Coach podcast. Yeah, so that's about all we had today. I am talking to somebody that has done ocean swim in all 7 oceans. We have 7 oceans, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so I've been emailing back and forth with her, and it's been tough because she works full time, and obviously distance swimmers don't get paid to swim, so she's got a job. But she's done an ocean swim.
Or is it the 7 channels? She swam the 7 hardest channels. That might be it.
Yeah.
Rather than the 7 seas, because I know that's a common attempt.
Yeah.
And it's rare to actually do because, you know, you get the British Channel, you get the Strait of Gibraltar, you get the one into San Francisco. I think you also get the one in Japan that's incredibly hard. So that should be a good episode.
Yeah, it'll be great. I need to get her on, you know, have an extra hour in her day. But yeah, I've been the video that she's got. There's a YouTube video, and I'll post all this in the show notes. But there's a YouTube video that's really, really cool. And her name is Kim, and her website is kimswims.com. So anyway, we'll have that coming up hopefully in the next few weeks. And otherwise, we'll just keep on going. And anything else to add there, Chris?
If you use the program and you're having a race that's coming up or a race in the past, you know, tweet us your results. Let us know how you did. We love hearing that feedback of, you know, breaking swim PRs. And even if you didn't do too well and you're kind of disappointed about your swim times, you know, send us a message and say, you know, this didn't really work for me, because we can help you. Like I said, all right, let's look at the program. Let's see what happened leading up to the race. And let's make sure that we tweak it this way so that, you know, next race come October, come the fall, you'll be ready for. I know a lot of you are having races out there coming up or have just occurred. So we'd love to hear from you and get in touch.
Yeah, that's a great point. And also, there's a lot of people that I've heard from that are going to the Chicago, is it Nationals in September?
Yeah, the ITU World Cup, I want to say, that's going to be in Chicago. I think it's ITU.
Yeah. A bunch of people from Tri Swim Coach are going to be there. So if you are going, hit us up, and we're going to try to get all you guys in touch, because I think it would be kind of cool to have people meet up, especially the ones that are in the membership, because they're already connected and they're already chatting. So. But let us know. Let us know if you're going to that. That would be awesome. I know it's one of the bigger events in the year. So,
well worth it.
Yep. Cool. Well, go out there and train hard and get some quality laps in there this week, and we'll have more for you in probably a couple weeks.
Awesome. Talk to you later, Kev.
All right. Thanks, Chris.
Thanks for listening to another episode covering swimming and triathlon mastery. To get your free online swim clinic, just go to tryswimlessons.com. Give us your name and email, and we'll have session number 1 off to you right away. Begin your process of befriending the swim and laughing at the water now.